Manifest You Inc. presents Balance with Bo Bradley. For more information, visit www.universityofmanifesting.com. Today, listen to lessons learned and interviews with experts in different facets of balance. And now, here's Bo Bradley.
Today on Balance with Bo Bradley, we are interviewing fitness expert Karen Frenchou, and she is going to talk to us about why it is so important to keep your body in good health and balance along with your mind and your spirit, because she coaches on all of those as she helps you to get fit. So with that, I'm going to welcome Karen and let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Oh, so glad to be here. You're absolutely right. I'm a weight loss coach and life coach. And I started my own personal journey around getting fit and losing weight for life when I got to the point that I was really, really frustrated with not being able to maintain a healthy weight and maintain a healthy lifestyle. Rather, I would, diet, lose weight, gain it back, start an exercise program, stop, and have to restart. And it was really frustrating for me. And I felt like, there really has to be another way. There are people that, live healthy lifestyles all the time, and I'm sure that they do it without a struggle. I had started some coaching work myself, doing some getting some life coaching and getting some coaching around these types of issues, and really found it to be honestly the solution that worked the best for me for the rest of my life. And I've seen it now with my clients and colleagues who do this type of coaching as well. So my goal is really to let people know that there is another way, and it doesn't involve so much tension and stress and worry. A lot more freedom.
Yeah, I know it to be true for weight loss, that if a diet is not just a diet, it's that you have to actually change the lifestyle, and that's where the coaching, I think, is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
So part of that, can you maybe describe what makes coaching for weight loss so different than a traditional diet program?
Yeah, and it's funny because the first step, I think, is completely the opposite of traditional diet programs with coaching, and that is completely letting go of the diet mentality, letting go of that food restriction and all the thoughts about I can't eat this or I can't eat that, or I have to weigh and measure everything, or count calories or carbs or grams of fat. First of all, it's too much work, I think, in my opinion, to have to do that for the rest of your life. It's not.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain that forever.
Yeah. So that's one reason, and then the other reason is that food restriction. It's in our physiology that food restriction actually tends to lead us down a path of overindulgence, and I think I can explain that best by an exercise I do with my clients that a colleague of mine had shared with me. And, if you take a drinking straw and you start breathing out of a drinking straw, you're limiting that intake of air, right? And you do that for any period of time. The first thing you're going to do when you take that straw out of your mouth is take a big gasp of air, and the same goes with food. It's like you do this restriction thing, and then as soon as the diet's over, or you've reached this goal weight, or you let yourself have a little bit, you finally give yourself that permission, it's like, oh my God, what have I been holding myself back from this whole time? And we tend to overindulge, and that's why a lot of us, again, myself included, see that kind of fluctuation in losing the weight and then gaining it back again. Yeah, our bodies, the other thing that I would add to that is just that when we tell ourselves we can't, I can't have that, we know deep down inside that you can have whatever you want, and we prove that to ourselves by, maybe cheating on our diet or whatnot. I mean, honestly, you can have whatever you want. It's as easy as buying the food or opening the refrigerator and eating it. When we say to ourselves that we can't have it, our bodies and in the back of our minds we know it, and we automatically start to kind of fight against it, and our bodies hate to lie, and we react to it. So, that's really two of the reasons why that letting go of that food restriction is so important at the very beginning. And then, I like to move right into kind of that a second key step to long-term weight loss, and that is really starting to change our relationship with food and our relationship with ourselves. And so that really involves looking at food in a different kind of way. We start talking about listening to our bodies and listening to what our bodies actually need, and really start talking about savoring food and the deliciousness of food and good fuel foods and how delicious they can be, and, what our bodies really want to eat. So, I encourage people to get really curious about their eating behaviors, their attitudes about food. And I think you said at the very beginning that so many diet programs promote that they're a lifestyle approach versus a diet. I think any time that we start to do that restriction thing, or we feel deprived in any way, it's still kind of that diet mentality. And
right.
I'm a strong believer that what fits for me in my lifestyle may look really different than what fits for you and yours. And when you end that whole diet thing and you really start to kind of focus on your relationship with food and your life, it really changes your whole way of thinking about how you take care of yourself. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, I think the difference between, going on another diet and really approaching weight loss and self-care and health and fitness in a long-term kind of way.
So this is how you lose weight without dieting, through the things that you were just talking about. This is how you get them to do that. Is there more to that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of in summary how the weight loss occurs. If we accept the fact that through our experience that we already know that diets are synonymous with the feelings of restriction and deprivation, right? So even words like, oh, well, we can do that in moderation, that tends to make people tense. So learning to accept that fact that you have permission to do what you really, really, really want. And when you ask that question about what I really, really, really want really deeply, you start to realize that what you really want is different than what you might feel like having right now.
Getting underneath that craving to what.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly kind of getting underneath it, and giving yourself that permission that, you can choose. You always had the choice to choose this over that, to choose exercising versus sitting on the couch, or to, eat this food that's more of fuel for your body versus that. And I think that helps people really take their power back when they can say, you know what, I do have a choice. And when you realize you're empowered and that you have a choice in the matter, then you start to feel truly more capable. When you see that you have a choice, you go, oh, yeah, I'm capable of making these choices. I can do that. And again, I think it goes back to, having that and pairing that with things like a new way of thinking about food and its role in your life. What role does food play in my life? I think the other key thing is really learning to fill your life up with things that you enjoy, things that are fun, things that you love, instead of, the typical mentality is, okay, we're going to take things away, we're going to stop doing this, and really getting people to kind of add things to their life and fill up on that stuff versus filling up on food, then the weight loss actually becomes effortless. And I say that to people, and sometimes they freak out. They're like, oh my gosh, effortless? How is weight loss effortless? But it's really true 100% of the time. Once you let go of all that junk, like you said, in our heads and our attitudes that keep us stuck, with that weight or that excess weight, and filling up on the good stuff in our life and filling up on the good food, filling up on the good fun, that it becomes almost logical and, for us to take care of ourselves no matter what.
So what kind of person do you find is most successful at this kind of program?
I think anyone can be successful at weight loss through coaching. I think those that see the fastest results are typically those who have dieted repeatedly and seen the weight come back, or people who are really frustrated with maybe they've lost weight, but they just have maybe that last 20 pounds, 15 pounds, 10 pounds to lose. People that are just tired of the worry about their weight constantly, the obsession about what they should and shouldn't eat, and they're really, really ready to just find another solution. And that's, like I said, that's kind of where I came from, was that I was tired of the constant yo-yoing and having to worry. So those are generally the people that I find to seek out this type of program. But for others, once they understand that there is actually another way and that, they're not crazy for feeling frustrated or, realizing that there's someone out there that understands their disappointment that they've had in themselves and how they've struggled with themselves, they're really ready to start digging in and really ready to lose the weight for good.
So we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about finding balance with food and exercise and living a healthy life in general?
So, I loved how in your introduction to this series, Bo, that you talked about, I think you said it best when you said, balance is, there's no absolute balance, right? Mm-hmm. Like there is, what works for me it may be very different than what works for you. Mm-hmm. And so it's a tricky word, but I think it's all about finding what fits for you and the life that you want to live and your lifestyle, doing what feels good to you in terms of how and what you want to eat, how you serve your body and serve your life. And I think people are constantly looking externally for that solution, and I think it's hard to find balance that way. I think really being true to what's going to work the best for you and honoring that, trusting what feels like the right life balance, I think is how you find less stress, more peace, and ultimately a healthier body and a healthier life.
Great. So if somebody would like more information or is interested in your services, how would they go about finding you?
So the one way is going to my website, and that is www.findyourfitcoaching.com. That's the name of my company. It's Find Your Fit Coaching. My email address is another way. You can email me directly at Karen@findyourfitcoaching.com. Or call me. My phone number is 650-444-4123. I coach globally over the phone and email. So, location is not an issue. And on that website, there's a place to sign up for information and newsletter and that kind of thing too. So you can always go there to find out more.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Karen. It's very informative, and I just love your outlook on the entire balance, and I'm looking forward to learning more.
Thank you so much, Bo.
This has been Balance with Bo Bradley, presented by Manifest You, Inc. For more information, visit www.universityofmanifesting.com. Tune in Friday when Bo answers your questions about balance.